everyone, and welcome to Session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randie Henderson, and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
Welcome everybody to chapter 2. So welcome. Chapter 2 was a big bad boy, and it's Profitable Wonders. Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm here in Brooklyn, and this is some book, so I'm looking forward to it. I have to kind of woman up to this particular book. But it's good. So that's my introduction. Who would like to go next?
Good evening. My name is Venita Walker, and I'm joining you from Connecticut. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Gorgette Moses. I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm ready or not for this dissection of Chapter 2. Woo! Serious stuff here.
I'm Joel or JJ from Charleston, South Carolina. It seemed like a pretty good book. A lot of the stuff that kind of mirrors the Nazis in Germany, but we'll go ahead with it.
Yes, I miss y'all. I need this. This is nourishment.
Hi, my name is Randie. I'm watching from Georgia, and this chapter was something.
And welcome everyone. My name is Michelle Odom. I am tonight in Brooklyn, New York. And along with Randie Danielle Henderson, I'm one of the co-hosts of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. This particular session is going to run until June 9th, and our reading is Harriet A. Washington's Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. This is our third week of session 3, where we are focused on chapter 2. In chapter 2, Profitable Wonders, Antebellum Medical Experimentation with Slaves and Freedmen, author Harriet A. Washington offers a detailed overview on the ever-widening, uncontrolled, and inhumane experimentation on African Americans from unlicensed practitioners in early American medicine. Ms. Washington briefs readers on the beliefs, practices, and falsehoods that were spread to support the horrors they inflicted on African American bodies and spirits. She talks about the great wealth accumulated and unethical practices practitioners employed to mask findings that did not benefit their cause or their purse. She exposes the bestiality of novice practitioners hoping to gain fame and fortune by discovering a scientific advancement without regard to African American lives. At the same time, the level of dignity and modesty afforded white patients was never even thought of for African Americans, especially women. Quote, when Sims undertook his fistula experiments, even the term gynecology was a few years in the future. Instead, women's doctors averted their eyes in a chivalrous fashion as they knelt to tend to the modestly clothed ladies of their class, relying upon their sense of touch beneath voluminous Victorian skirts. However, Sims, working with enslaved blacks, was constrained by no such delicacy. He made the women undress completely, then kneel on hands and knees, while he and several physicians took turns inserting a special speculum he had devised to open the women's vaginas fully to view. I saw everything as no man had seen before, marveled Sims. Montgomery physicians flocked to Sims's shack to see what no man had seen before. So did prominent citizens and local apprentices, end quote. Ms. Washington identifies physicians like Sims who inadvertently killed patients, only to acquire more and more enslaved subjects. At the same time, this writing attributed any loss of life to the patient's lack of basic self-care, if these mishaps were documented at all.
One of the most tenacious beliefs was that blacks did not feel pain or anxiety, which excused painful surgical exploitations without anesthesia on blacks. Dr. Charles White declared that blacks bear surgical operations much better than white people, and what would be the cause of insupportable pain for white men, a Negro disregard. I have amputated the legs of many Negroes who have held the upper part of the limb themselves. Question: the description brings forward a super race or inferior race. Why? This description brings forward a super race or an inferior race. Why?
It brings inferior race. Because it's the continuation of what they believe about, why do we enslave people? Because they're inferior, because they're not Christians. If you say that they're not exactly human, that means that we have the right to do these people, what we feel like, because they're of a different species.
Yeah, and I'd say it brings forth a superior race in the sense that if you can have your leg amputated and not feel any pain, you are a superior being,
But, and it's also to bring, of course, the masses of people that are consider themselves good, don't want to say anything, is basically a justification. What we justified in doing this here because, oh, they don't feel pain, or they're inferior, or they're superior, Okay, well, go ahead and do it then.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's just like the duplicity of on one hand you're saying they're inferior. I'm just amazed at the duplicity that you can say how inferior the race is, but at the same time, if you're going to cut my leg off and I'm going to hold it, I think you would fear me. I think that you would need to kind of back up off me. That's what I would think. That if you're going to cut my leg off and I'm going to hit you with it, it just sounds like, if indeed I don't feel pain, I'm the wrong person to work on your plantation.
Exactly.
Because at some point, the stakes are lower for me in terms of my pain threshold. So what do you have? What do you bring it? If you're going to do something, bring it.
Right.
So I just think that on one level, I'm wondering if they internalize this enormous capacity for us to not only fight back, but to not be so impacted by when we are then hit. I don't know. It's not coming out the way I wanted to say it, but that's my feeling. It's just like, well, does that make you fear us more?
Right. Well, one of the key points that she makes at the end of the chapter is just about how illogical, all of this thinking was, and she uses the example of, if you really believe that these were inferior people to the point of basically being another species, then how is it you can infer whatever results you get from your experimentation to white people? How is it that you can take results that you found with black people and then turn around and believe that they apply equally to white people if you genuinely don't believe that we're the same species? So it didn't make any sense. But abusive people, whatever their reasons are, don't hold themselves to a standard of logic. They never do.
Yeah.
Any other comments before we move on?
Well, I'd just like to piggyback off of what you said, Kim, about being able to hold their limb while somebody was chopping it off. I can't imagine that. Was the slave under duress? If he didn't hold it, was somebody about to kill him? You know, how do you do that? And then that contradicts, you know, the accounts where the slave women were being operated on, and the attendants had to leave, it was so bad, and then the women had to hold each other down because of the pain. So just was that one particular man he picked out of his, you know, his example of how, I don't know, durable the slaves were, that he could hold his own limb, or was that particular person he picked had some mental damage and they just did whatever he said? So that was a good example that he could use to say, oh, this applies to all of them, you know.
How about he just told a lie?
Yeah.
We're taking the assumption that he's telling the truth, just lie.
Yeah, you're right. We're trying to apply logic to something that is entirely illogical. They're making it up as they go along. These guys didn't have medical training. This guy admits that he didn't know a thing about medicine when he started.
You're just a sadist.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Joel, that she started this chapter with a quote by Lenin that says, "A lie told often enough becomes the truth." And that's what so much of it was about, the lies that they were telling themselves, you know. So we don't have to try to make sense out of it. Huh?
Yeah, right. Because right up above that, where you're talking about, you know, he cut it, you know, he cut the leg off. He goes on, and they say in the previous paragraph that, you know, blacks harbored a multitude of diseases and syphilis. Well, you know, that could be a full thing, because if you look at the black male, or you know, or the sex, it all is going to go around the sex, saying, oh, don't mess with the black male or the black female, you're going to get a disease, so they won't have mixing of the races. You know, they use these type of falsehoods, you know, for those type of things as well.
Oh, this is your kind of chapter, Joel. You said you wanted some facts.
I need some facts now.
These are facts. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kim don't know where we're going with that. I struggle with the last Kim. That's what they're saying. I struggle.
Oh,
They
really?
pushed me across the finish. Oh, I struggled. Alice Walker and men brains don't mix too well. I can tell you that.
Oh my God.